stop, is it? So basically what I've done, there we go. Basically what I've done is I stuck my wooden templates, I glued them to the metal to cut out the metal sections, and then I went round the edges of the wood, no, start again. Oh yeah, folks, I forgot to take two. Hello folks. So I finished casting, let's put this on here a minute. I finished casting the crash bar for Wife's bike out the aluminium rod, which the rod all worked perfect, and then I made a thread hole in the end of it, and it was going into this engine mount bracket here, which has already had a hole in it, so it's machined to go into there. So tried it, put the bolt in, put the bike over on its side, and it snapped. Obviously there wasn't enough meat of aluminium around here. Well, it's aluminium with a bit of brass in to make it more tunable, which turns out really smooth. But what I should have done was, where it meets in here, I should have made this piece a lot more bulkier, so it had that recess to sit in there, which is correct, but I should have made it more bulky here, and I think we wouldn't have had the snapping issue. I think it would have solved it, which would have been a damn sight easier to do. So, but we've gone to plan B. We are now going to make I've got a piece of old water pipe, which we're going to do, and we're going to paint it all up, obviously. So I'm now making brackets. So I've made some cardboard brackets, which will go where these bolt holes are, that one and that one, and that will go underneath, obviously underneath the bolts there. So this one goes on the outside, and then we've got another one we've knocked up, which goes on the inside, which would go in there over the top of those two bolts, and then we end up with a big hole. God, better, I've got to get this camera better. We end up with a big hole in up here. So I transferred all that to wood, and I made some wooden ones. Now these are glued together at the moment, which is just for drilling the holes. So the iron bar goes through there, so it goes round that way, on there like that, and then this one that's stuck on the inside goes inside there, but obviously it won't because it's got that stuck on it. But this, so now I had to find the distance between these two holes. So I've used one of these, not 100% sure what it's called, but I suppose it's a protractor, I suppose. Now I've gone to the centre of that bolt and the centre of that bolt, which then gives me those two marks there. But you could use well, measure it, anything like that, I suppose. So now we need to find the size of the holes that we need to make. Now obviously this is a wooden template. Make sure everything's okay, it's all level on the wooden template. Put the bar through, then we will make these out of steel, and we'll have little corner pieces in there for rigidity and everything. So we need to get those holes in there. So God, this ain't no bloody good, is it? So we're using a vernier caliper, and we are going to measure one-handed the size of the bolt that hole we need to make. Which, taking the notes of that measurement, it's I'll tell you what, let's start again. Looks like about 10 mil. So. That's still come out wrong. But anyway, it's about 10 mil. So I now take this in the workshop, get the size of the hole, make the 2 holes in the wooden template, sit them on with the bar through. Everything looks okay, we then start making out of steel. Right, I've got to try and get up off the bloody floor now. See you in a minute. So we've got a 10 mil drill. We are now going to drill the holes in the wood. There we go. So now we're going to try this on, make sure these fit. Sorry about this, folks. I got so involved in it I forgot to record. So I'll tell you what I've done anyway. Hi folks, I forgot to be filming while I've done this. Typical. So oh well. The wooden templates I made, I've glued them to my steel. Then I use my Lidl's plasma cutter, which is fantastic, to then cut around the edges of it to give me, I expect that's hot, isn't it? Yep, that's hot. Hang on. Basically give me my shapes. Now it hasn't come out fantastic, but I'm going to grind it anyway. Now what I should have done was it's actually come out bigger than my template. So really what I should have done was maybe template looks like about 2-3 mil smaller than what I wanted, but it doesn't really matter because on this one it's actually better because it's come out that bit bigger. Obviously these sections, if you can see it, these sections here will have to be the right size because they have to inset into those aluminium bits on the bike. But all of this, no, it doesn't really matter if it's bigger because I can move this. I'm going to move this hole back in a little bit closer, so that's okay. So we've taken them apart, and now we are just filing all the little corners. Bit more in here, I think, and a bit more in here, because that's got to sit in a recess, so that needs to come out a bit, and a little bit in there, I would say. That's a bit better. I've got a little tiny bit up here, get into that corner. Let's be one of those people that don't know how to use a file. Yeah, right, stuff all your teeth up. No thanks. Look up there. Actually, that's not looking too bad. Ah, see, now that's better. Right into the corner better. This bit doesn't matter because it just means it's a little bit bigger, but these do matter because they sit in little recesses on the aluminium bit. This would come down with a bit, but what we're doing now, what about this one? think that'll be okay. We'll have to try that on. It's not so important on these ones around there. Well, what we'll do now is we'll bolt them back together. And then that keeps them in line. So any grinding I do on here and whatnot means they'll both be exactly the same. Right, let's put it on the belt grinder and see what we can come up with. Where are we going to put you to? Try you over there, can you see it? Yeah. It's a belt grinder I made. Not the best, but does the job. I'm quite happy with that. Now I'll wait till tomorrow because there might be some minor modifications. I may need to bring this bit back a little bit, and I may need to step that in just because that bit sits in that little recess. This doesn't, because this one sits on the outside of the brackets and this one sits on the inside of the engine brackets. And obviously the pipe sticking outside will be different lengths, but from the frame they'll be the same. Okay, let's see what happens tomorrow. Bye. So as you can see, I started filing the hole out. I drilled it out on the drill press, well, I'm in a machine. I could have got all the tools out to cut it round. I just couldn't be bothered to get them out. But why should I use those? I'm trying to show you how to just use it with ordinary stuff you've got. So I used a step drill to get out most as I could. Step drill wouldn't go through far enough, so I then used the plasma cutter to carry on cutting it around. Alright, most people haven't got that. So then we just carried on filing. Just wanted a nice good fit. As you can see where the thread is, obviously it goes through. It's almost there, look. Almost, not quite. So a bit more filing. Nudge them more, but I bet if I turn the pipe, yeah, in and out. Okay, let's try the big pipe then. That's what we're looking for, baby. So when it's on the bike, I can slide it in, adjust it, get it the distance we want, and then we'll tack weld it either side, take it off the bike, weld it up. Then we'll weld some supports in. Give it the rigidity we want. So let's go and sand the pipe off and sand all the galvanise off of these to make sure these weld up properly. As you can see, I had them bolted together as always to make sure this hole is in the right place. Alright, we got one bracket on. Just put the other one on. It's a shame you've got to put all this on just to tuck it into place, but make sure you're in the right place. This is all just to make sure we get our bar in the right place. Yeah, just about that. Okay, let's see if our bar lines up. Yeah, baby. There we go. Now we have to work out how far we want it, tilt the bike over, see where the ideal optimum place is, cut it to length, tuck it on. Yeah, see, because it's way out, way too far this side. So I think we want it about just inside the actual foot peg, so it protects the gear lever, the casing, which hence makes this about 3 inches too big, doesn't it? And then what we'll do is, like I said, is we'll weld V-bits in here, across there. I want to try and get a couple back that way on here towards the thread if I can, and then the same on this side. I want to try and, I've got this bagger in the way, I wanted to try and get one like triangle one to come back right up to here, ready for a bit of added support, and maybe a little dilly one there. There's a bit of a flare job. Well, there we go. So then when she's on the bike, she's got a crash bar protection, but she's also got a highway peg. So that should do her lovely. Okay, now we're going to start tacking this in position so it don't move. Alright, now it's time to tidy the welds up. See if we can do a better job than we've done already. Right, so there you go. Well, it's overheated, so we'll have to wait for that to cool down and try again. Hello again. Well, as you could tell, my welding was not up to scratch, and that ain't normally like that, trust me. So anyway, I've managed to do some more welding on it, and I've primed it as well. And I've just rubbed it down, ready for a top coat, and then some lacquer. But oh, a little bit there I've missed. Oh no, that's water where I rubbed it down, so I've got to wipe all that off yet, dry it off. So yeah, didn't turn out too bad. Thumbs up. Right, we've mixed up our black, and we've also mixed up some glitter, which I don't think you can really see in there. So once we've got a few coats of the black on, instead of waiting for it to dry, I'm then going to spray the glitter straight away to see how it goes. Fan on, shut the curtain, mask on. Okay, start with the black. Bloody root's not that great. Okay, here we go. Okay, we'll let that sit for a minute. So we'll put that in the vice. Bloody steps fell over. So anyway, so we'll let that sit before we give it another coat. Because as you can see, there's a little bit of mist there, but we won't rush that. We'll wait a minute. Okay. Here we go, finished product. So when I say water pipe, it was still water pipe. It was actually a gas pipe, but that's the finished product. Get the sun on it a bit. Not on the bike yet, lacquered, polished. And I will show you it on the bike sometime. So there we go. Okay, people. Right, we're now going to put the crash bar on the bike. I've already taken the bolts out. So let's see if we can get it to fit on now. It's all painted up. Oh, damn, I've got to take that off. Right, let's see if we can fit on. Okay, I'm going to push the bolt through at the same time. There's one bolt. The worst bit about this lot is going to be sticking all the bloody nuts on. Especially when you drop the bloody nut. On the front of it. So that's one. Try to get the nut on that one. I don't know how we're going to get it on that one, because it's right in there. Oh, right, coming. Yeah. Yeah, hang on a minute. Alright, there you go, people. It's snugged up for a minute. And I'll retighten those again in a sec. Right, there you go. And then the little barrel we took off, gonna hang back on there, on that bit at the front. On the top of the bike. Now look from the front, we should still be in line. Yep. Okay, here goes the lean test. Here's the camera. I think you might want to go around the front so we can watch what it's going to do. And see if we've got our measurements right. It wants to rock right over. But if you think a person will be holding that, so we could really do one on the back shocks now, because that's going to pivot right over. So we could do one sticking out the back shocks. So as you can see, the peg folds up. If this bar was higher, we wouldn't have had a problem. So now it makes me wonder whether to make another one that sits up here, so we have two, or we just we make a new bar to come out here, so that if it does go right over, it rests on the bars on the shocks. Tell me your thoughts, let me know whether I should go higher up with a second one, or whether I should have rear strut supports. Well, there you go.